Hello, my name is Signe and I work in travel audience marketing team based in Amadeus headquarters in Madrid.
Hi everyone, my name is Marzena. I work at Travel Audience in the Berlin office, and as part of the destinations team, I work with DMOs such as yourselves to promote and bring incremental visitors to their destinations.
Welcome back to our web series, Building Your Pathway to Recovery.
This web series is aimed at us sharing our experience and knowledge with you and shed a little bit of light on the power of data. During the series, we will be explaining the relevance of certain data metrics to help you assess the performance of your destination, so then you can drive and enrich your recovery strategies. Let's do a quick recap and see what we discussed in the last episode. So that one was all about air capacity and traffic data, and we explained to you how it can be useful to, for example, find out when you should switch from inspirational to more conversion-oriented campaigns. We also talked about how to discover which markets would be the most promising ones for your advertising campaigns. We helped you to understand where your visitors are coming from and how to promote stopover programs, and how to get more air capacity to your destinations by starting conversations with airlines with the help of data.
In today's episode, we will be looking at how different data assets and the insights that come with them can give you ideas for driving marketing activities. We're also going to take a quick trip to Malaga and see how you can use different data assets in developing marketing campaigns. And we're also going to take a closer look at post-campaign evolution as a driver for optimizing your recovery strategies. Let's start with a short recap of what we have looked at during the 4 previous episodes. And to do this, we're going to be using the concept of traveler's journey through data. If we think about the customer's journey, there's actually various stages that the traveler usually goes through before the actual departure. So here we have pointed out these 4 stages. We have inspiration, awareness, followed by decision and action. And each of these stages can actually benefit from the use of different datasets or the combination of them to optimize and drive your marketing strategies.
The very first stage is the inspiration phase. And the interesting thing here is that you might be getting inspired without even noticing it. Sometimes travelers surf the internet without any particular intention, and then they learn about places they would love to visit. And this is exactly the moment when you can inspire potential travelers to come to your destination. So what kind of insights can you actually extract at this stage? For example, you can find out, is there enough interest to your destination? Who am I competing with? Or when should I be targeting and influencing my potential visitors? And if the search data shows that there is still not enough demand or searches to your destination, that could be an indicator that you need to inspire those travelers first by launching visual branding campaigns on travel websites, blogs, or on social media. Let's take a quick look at a beautiful example of a visual campaign made by Discover Dominica.
The next step of our customer's journey is awareness. So this is when travelers are researching and planning their trips. They might have your destination in their radar already, but most likely they're choosing and comparing between different destinations. So this is the perfect time to try and influence their decision. At this stage, you should be looking at both the search or demand data and also the air capacity data. And we're trying to understand and answer questions like, from which markets is this demand coming from? What are your competitors? And when would be a right time to try and influence these audiences? At this stage, you can continue building travelers' confidence, impact their choice, and eventually beat your competitors using online advertising campaigns. Here we can see a lovely example of a performance campaign done by Jamaica. And in this case, we actually partnered with one of our OTA partners, lastminute.com, in order to maximize the conversions.
It's also important to look into air capacity data at this stage to understand if there is actually enough air capacity to address all that demand to your destination. You can understand when to switch from inspirational to more performance-oriented activities. So what are the insights here that can help you drive your recovery activities? You can now identify markets with high air capacity to your destination and then advertise there. You can also monitor when flights are being resumed and then start your performance campaigns.
So now we have reached the decision stage, and this is actually pretty straightforward. This is the moment when the actual booking is happening. Here you might be asking yourself, who is your ideal visitor? What are the travelers' behaviors and how they might have changed when thinking about the next normal? So we would need to take a closer look into the booking data to try and understand the answers to these questions. But what can be done at this stage? So you can drive your recovery activities by promoting different in-destination services slightly off the beaten track. You can also choose either it's a better time for last-minute campaigns versus targeting travelers that are booking more in advance. And you can also decide either you should go for an inspirational awareness campaign or rather a conversion-oriented campaign. And based on the booking data, you can see which market might be ready for one or the other.
And finally, there's the action stage. That's when the travelers go on their actual trip. At this stage of the customer journey, we will be taking a closer look at the traffic data. Traffic data can help us to understand how many air passengers are staying at my destination and how many of them are using it as a connection point. So what are the insights and actions that you can take from this data source? You can understand who your real travelers are and focus your advertising activities on these markets. You can also promote stopover programs for those travelers who connect in your destination.
Now let's get to the core of our today's episode and see how we can combine these different data sets in order to optimize and boost your recovery strategies. So when thinking about combining different data sets effectively, it does not always mean you need to create ratios or put different data sets in the same chart. The best practice is actually to answer different questions using the right data set in the process of creating the marketing campaign.
We would like to suggest the following framework when driving your marketing campaign. Let's look at the so-called 3D concept. Define your objective. What do you want to achieve with advertising? Discover. Use data to discover how to best reach that objective. And finally, design. Design and set up a campaign logic that will appeal to the customers and bring the best results. In regard to strategy optimization, we would like to mention post-campaign evaluation, and we'll bring up this topic later in the episode.
Now let's take a quick travel to one of my favorite destinations in Spain, the beautiful city of Malaga. We will use this destination as an example to give you an understanding of how to use different data sets, and as well as to show you how a simple define, discover, design framework can be applied in practice. The define part really depends on you. You know what's best for your destination, so essentially you have to set the objective you want to reach. For this case, we will use the example of bring visitors back. So this is going to be our goal, and we are going to align the next steps in order to reach this objective. In the discover part, we will focus on defining markets that would be a good match for reaching this objective. So we will also define the competitors for Malaga and the users we want to target.
To bring visitors back to Malaga, we would first need to understand which travelers are already ready to travel again. One of the ways to find out would be to understand which markets are actively searching for travel right now. For a more complete analysis, we would of course want to do the same with different data sets and identify the markets that are also growing in seat capacity, bookings, and traffic. In this simplified example scenario, we are only using the demand data to Malaga. This could be done on a global, like in the first graph, on a regional, like in the middle graph, or on a country level. In the current situation, we don't recommend focusing only on the global level, as travel restrictions have been only lifted in some of the countries, and European borders are still closed for some countries. Country level would be interesting, but I would like to focus more on the regional one here, because it would involve targeting origin markets that might want to go to Spain's competitors. We have Greece, Germany, UK, Denmark, and France in the top 5 with above average growth of searches. For the purpose of this simplified example, let's focus only on one market. To understand which of these 5 markets have not only demand, but also sufficient number of seats scheduled to Malaga, we will look into air capacity data. We arranged the cities in this table according to the number of seats scheduled to Malaga from August to September 2020. The percentage number shows us the year-on-year growth of air capacity. As you can see, all destinations decreased the number of flights to Malaga this year, except for Germany. Though Greece is in the first place in terms of searches to South Europe, the country is in the 5th place in our air capacity table with 0 flights scheduled to Malaga until the end of the year. This shows us again the importance of considering not only demand to the destination, but also checking the air capacity data before planning any marketing activities. UK takes the 1st place in terms of air capacity, but here I would actually suggest to focus on the German market this time, as it's the only one that has year-on-year growth in number of seats scheduled, as well as very high demand percentages.
During the next step, we will be trying to understand where in South Europe German travelers are willing to go. So we will be looking at the most searched cities in the OTAs and the most booked destinations in the travel agency environment. Here we see the most searched and booked destinations by Germans from July 2020. Unfortunately, Malaga is not within the top 5, but we see cities like Barcelona, Palma de Mallorca, and some other Greek destinations, and even Portugal. In our previous episodes, we already discussed that Greece was actually among the first European countries that opened the borders, and they even experienced a boost in the search volumes. Also, both Portugal and Greece were doing amazing marketing campaigns, actively adapting their messages to the new reality. To understand what of these users that are already actively searched and booked by Germans could potentially change their mind and go to Malaga instead, let's take a closer look at the similar destinations for Malaga. To analyze similar destinations to Malaga, we have used the search data from our data partners. So these are well-established travel websites, meta searches, and OTAs. So this data looks at the demand behavior of travelers and groups of destinations that they often search together. So essentially, this gives us a list of destinations that are often searched together with Malaga. These insights give us the opportunity to build a picture of similar destinations from a certain market, in this case the German one, and we would like to emphasize that there is a general decrease in the search volume globally. So this current similarity scale does look slightly different than it would have before the COVID-19 pandemics. How this graph works is that we have from bottom to top the frequency in which these destinations are searched together with Malaga, and from left to right the volume of searches they're receiving. So essentially those destinations that we see on the top right corner are the ones that are most similar when it comes to Malaga. So we can see there that Granada and Sevilla are actually the most similar ones when it comes to German search behavior, and we also see some even more frequently searched destinations like Barcelona, Lisbon, and Palma de Mallorca. The last 3 destinations I mentioned are located quite high in similarity to Malaga. They also have a noticeably larger volume than other destinations, which is a key factor to notice when we consider that the overall search volumes have decreased.
Coming back to the demand and bookings from the German market. If we know that German visitors are interested in destinations that have similar offerings that Malaga has, this is a good indicator for a campaign with a high conversion potential. That's why it makes sense to target users who are currently searching for Palma, Barcelona, or Lisbon. All we need to do now is convince them that they should go to Malaga instead.
Let's not forget about Sevilla and Granada. These 2 cities are actually the most similar when looking at the German traveler behaviors. We can also maybe add Madrid to this group as it is very similar and it has an overall high number of searches. When we're checking the map, we can see that all these 3 destinations are very well connected to Malaga, and travelers can easily reach it within a couple of hours using car or train. Here we have taken a look at the traffic data to see which are the most visited cities from Germany this June. We can see that Malaga was in the 2nd position and received 23% of the general traffic from Germany to Spain. This is really a great achievement already. We also know that on average these German travelers spend 7.3 days when in Spain, and we get this information from our booking data. So this tells us that there is more than enough time for them to visit multiple destinations inside the country. When pursuing the goal to bring back visitors, we also want to attract those travelers that are already visiting other Spanish cities but could potentially add Malaga as an additional destination they can reach by car, train or bus. We analyzed the searches from our data partners to see the German activity in different travel-related websites. So we can see that in the last 30 days, German travelers have been especially active in searching for train travel options when it comes to deciding travel plans.
We are now really well equipped with all the insights, and we know which markets and which users we want to target. Now it's time to summarize it all and design our marketing activities. We start with the first setup and segment targeting. We know that there are a lot of searches and bookings from the German market. We also know that there is good air connectivity between Germany and Malaga. We know that Barcelona, Lisbon and Palma are considered to be competitive destinations. And we are also aware of the interest that these 3 destinations are receiving in the German market. This indicates high conversion potential there. What we need to do now is convince and convert those German travelers that are looking for Barcelona, Palma or Lisbon by showing them an enticing ad and making them come to Malaga instead.
We could also do a second setup and use different segment targeting. At this point we know that Malaga is similar to Sevilla, Granada and Madrid in the eyes of German travelers. We also know that Malaga has a huge advantage, the beautiful beaches, and this could be an important factor when choosing a destination, especially in the summertime. We also know that in the last 30 days, German travelers have shown increased activity in searching for train travel. Malaga is actually a city that can be easily reached by train from all of the previously mentioned destinations. We also know that Germans spend on average 7 days when traveling to Spain, so this gives them plenty of time to visit multiple destinations during one journey. Following these insights, our second targeting segment will focus on those German travelers who are going to visit the cities that are well connected to Malaga. And here in our messaging, we would suggest that they could add Malaga to their trip agenda, or maybe suggest that they could spend a few days by the seaside. Of course, here we have only looked at the few steps that go into planning a marketing campaign, and this is overall just a simplified example. But to add the next final touch to our design of the campaign, let's take a look of when would be a good time to launch this campaign. On the upper graph, you can see the evolution of the daily searches we see from the German market to different destinations in South Europe. As you can see, the search volume in June and July has already increased, and now the volumes are at their highest since March. On the bottom graph, we're looking at what travel months these visitors are considering, so which are the desired travel periods for those Germans that are searching for their travel this month. As we can see, most of them are willing to travel immediately, or July and August, and also some of them for September. Both of these insights are leading us to one conclusion, that now and today is the best time to launch our marketing activities in order to bring back the visitors even for this summer season.
Let's now look at the last topic for today, optimization of your strategy. One of the ways to do it would be to analyze post-campaign data, which gives you various insights into your campaign performance. It is of course always depending on the campaign type, but here are some examples of the insights that can be extracted. Campaign performance by country, city, banner or video type, key metrics such as conversions, click-through rate and clicks, the number of days between the first impression and the conversion, and also between the conversion and the departure. So basically, how far in advance do my travelers book? However, as we said, each campaign is unique, and it's important to evaluate each one individually. Post-campaign data can show you what really works and gives you valuable insights for your future marketing activities. I would like to add here that we don't wait until the end of a campaign to start optimizing. It's actually an ongoing process. So throughout the entire campaign, we monitor, for example, which creatives perform best and then optimize to achieve the maximum results. So let's summarize what we have learned today in this episode. You can combine different data assets to get a holistic picture of your destination, understand where you are positioned among your competitors, identify your demand markets and target your ideal visitors, and finally design and optimize your marketing campaigns.
That's it for today's episode.
Thank you very much for joining us.
And we really hope to see you next time as well.
See you next time.